The Rancilio Silvia is probably the best and cheapest entry-level coffee machine that's out there to buy. But if you're still undecided, well, I have 3 reasons that will help you pull the trigger. So let's check it out. G'day mate, I'm Ryde, and today I want to tell you about the Rancilio and why you should buy it. If any of these 3 things are important to you, you'll really want this machine. So firstly, the steam power. This machine is pretty compact, but it still has a 300 ml or a 10 ounce boiler, which is enough to pump out 3 or 4 coffees before the reservoir has to fill it back up. So you're not going to lose any of that temperature and have your 2nd and 3rd coffee under extracted. Unlike the Gaggia Classic Pro, which only has a 100 ml boiler, as soon as you extract your first coffee, it's going to add cold water in, it's going to drop the overall temperature, and if you try to do a shot back to back, it's going to be sour. But with the Rancilio, the boiler means that you have a really good amount of steam to steam your lattes, to do a big coffee in. You're not going to have to worry about just doing small amounts of milk at a time. You can do a big jug of milk for multiple coffees, because if you live in a household where you're drinking, say, 3 or 4 coffees a day, you can run these coffees back to back to back to back, know that they're going to be fairly consistent, and then do all your milk in one load as well. And yes, it's not the most sophisticated steam one. It only has 1 hole in it, but that actually leads me on to my next reason to buy this machine. But before I do that, if you wouldn't mind, tap that like button. You're a bloody legend. I love you. The next reason to buy this coffee machine is the fact that it is so simple. It's like a block of marble ready for you to carve out your Michelangelo's David. I mean, the simple foundation of this machine means whatever you want to do with it, you can. The beauty and simplicity of this machine means if you have any interest in engineering or tinkering, electrical, or doing whatever you want to upgrade your machine, this is the perfect machine for you. And let's say you don't even really know where to begin, you've never worked on a coffee machine, but you have an interest in understanding how things work, and you're pretty handy, you can pull things apart. There's a huge modding community, millions of people around the world who have tried and tested different ways of upgrading and fiddling and modding this machine. So you want better temperature stabilizing? Well, add a PID. You want to see the pressure as it's extracting? Add in a pressure gauge. You want silky, beautiful milk that's softer and nice microfoam? Add in a different steam tip. If you want to turn it into a supercomputer to map and measure every variable you can think of, from water temperature to water flow rate to extraction rate to the pressure rate, everything, and map it, save it, download it, and send it off to your friends around the world so they can replicate it, then you can add in a thing called a Gauguino, which works perfectly on this machine and just turns it into a supercomputer. You know, normally you wouldn't find that on something that's $5,000 in a coffee machine. So the fact that you can start with the basics and keep adding and working your way up to it is what makes this machine so special. And if something breaks, like the element in the boiler needs to be replaced, it's super easy to pull it apart and pop in a new one. And that brings me to my final point, the reason to buy this machine, which I think is going to appeal to many, many, many people out there. If you just want a machine that you don't really have to worry about, but it's going to last you forever. This machine is built so solidly that, in theory, maybe with a bit of love and care, it should last you an entire lifetime. And in fact, I have a brother-in-law who bought this machine well over 12 years ago. It's never been serviced. It's never had anything done to it. It is still making coffee to this day. And that's a testament to how solid and robust this machine is. Yes, sure, it's not making as good a coffee as day one. With a little bit of love and a couple of hours of service and a few parts replaced, it would be back to brand new and could continue on for another 10, 15, 20 plus years. In fact, there's really no limit to this, because as each part dies, you can just replace it. It's so simple, but yet it is, the structure, the engineering is solid. And so for a lot of you, that's going to be a massive appeal, because it means that you don't have to worry about it, say with your like Brevels and your other appliance machines, or even other standard machines. They're probably going to have a lifetime of maybe, well, appliances are going to last you 2 to 5 years. maybe 7 if you're really lucky. Good level other machines might last you 10 to 15 years. This one probably could last you forever. So those 3 reasons, plus the fact that this is a relatively cheap machine. I think you can pick it up for about $800 US, about 1,100 Australian. I mean, you could buy a refurbished one for half that price and it would be just as good as brand new, and you would not have to worry about it dying within 12 months. So if you're still sitting on the fence about this machine, I think if any of those reasons appeal to you, jump on it and just pull the trigger. Do yourself a favor. You'll thank me later. There's a couple of links below to follow them, depending on if you live in Australia or if you live overseas. You can find out where to buy those coffee machines from. But I hope you love this machine as much as I do. I always had a fond spot for Rancilio. Anyway, I hope you like these videos. I'm Ryde, your coffee coach. And as always, enjoy your brew.